What if a single wildfire could burn an area 4 times the size of one of the world's most famous cities? And that's just one of dozens of fires raging across an entire continent. Right now, Europe is burning. Wildfires have scorched nearly 500,000 hectares across the European Union. In France, a single blaze west of Bordeaux has burned 420 square kilometers, an area roughly 4 times the size of Paris. In Spain, more than 200,000 hectares have burned this year, twice the historical annual average. In Greece, gale force winds are driving flames through seaside resorts, forcing evacuations by land and sea. And French President Emmanuel Macron has called it the worst fire crisis since World War II. Let's start with the numbers, because they reveal the unprecedented scale of what's happening. Nearly 500,000 hectares, roughly 435,000 hectares, have been scorched across the European Union. That's 3 times the average burned area for this point in the season over the past 20 years. France has recorded its highest annual burned area since records began in 2006. In Spain, wildfires that began on July 20th have destroyed more than 80,000 hectares, bringing the country's total for 2026 to over 150,000 hectares. More than 200,000 people have been forced to flee their homes in France and Spain. And this is only July. The season is less than halfway through. Here's the part of this story that almost no coverage explains properly, and it's the part that matters most. This isn't one wildfire season. This is a simultaneous, continent-wide catastrophe unfolding across multiple countries, each with its own fires, its own evacuations, and its own emergencies. France, Spain, Portugal, Greece, Italy, and Turkey are all burning at the same time. The European Union's Emergency Response Coordination Center is bracing for outbreaks in Italy and Greece in the coming weeks, alongside further fires in France and Spain, as another heat wave grips much of the continent. Last year was the worst, and the whole of August awaits us, an EU official told journalists. I'm the host here at Today Latest Analysis, and every claim in this video comes from actual data from the European Union's Copernicus satellite monitoring service, the Global Wildfire Information System, and peer-reviewed research, not exaggerated headlines or unverified speculation. Subscribe now and turn on notifications, because the fire season is far from over and there's more coming. Let's start from the beginning, because to understand why this is happening, you need to understand what's fueling these fires. Europe has been ravaged by wildfires this summer after a period of successive record-breaking heat waves and little rain. Villages in France and Spain have been destroyed, and hundreds of thousands of people have been forced to flee their homes and holiday accommodation. The blaze in Gironde has been characterized by a pyrocumulonimbus, a powerful fire-generated thunderstorm that's more common in North America and Australia. The situation we face today is the hardest we've ever recorded, the hardest since the Second World War, Macron said. The weeks ahead will be hard. We must hold firm. Now, here's the second layer of this story, the part that makes this feel apocalyptic. The Gironde fire in southwestern France has burned 420 square kilometers of pine forest west of Bordeaux, an area 4 times the size of Paris. At its peak, the wildfire came as close as 9 miles, or 15 kilometers, from the south of Bordeaux, although the city was never under serious threat. The fire has forced 224,000 people to flee. About 57,000 residents evacuated from 3 nearby towns were allowed to return home. They were told to keep their mobile phones on and remain prepared to evacuate again if conditions deteriorated. More than 200,000 residents and tourists have been forced to flee the blazes in southwest France, including 4,000 people evacuated from campsites and other tourist areas in the town of Lacanau. Macron described the situation as France's worst fire-related crisis since World War II. On a visit to a coordination center for the massive firefighting effort in southwest France, Macron heard how the blaze raging since last week has been wildly unpredictable, transforming at times into a self-feeding firestorm. We're facing a completely unprecedented fire, Macron said. Around a dozen countries have provided planes, helicopters, firefighters, and other assistance to both France and Spain. Australia and Lithuania have also sent support. In Spain, the situation is equally dire. Wildfires that have been burning since July 20th have destroyed more than 80,000 hectares, bringing the country's total for 2026 to over 150,000 hectares. More than 200,000 hectares have burned in Spain this year, well above average this early in the season. A fire close to Madrid has become the largest single fire in the country's history. The Burgajondo fire has burned approximately 77,000 hectares across an area between Avila, Madrid, and Toledo. Wildfires have so far burned over 170 square kilometers in Spain, 6 times more than in the year earlier period. Spanish authorities warned that the heat wave threatens a resurgence of fire in areas west of Madrid, where more than 25,000 hectares have already gone up in smoke. Now Greece is facing its own crisis. Wildfires fanned by gale force winds burned across multiple areas of Greece on Saturday, forcing residents to flee. Nearly 2,500 people were evacuated overnight. More than 300 firefighters, 92 firefighting trucks, heavy machinery, and aircraft have continued to battle a conflagration in the region of Boeotia, where over 200 people from the town of Agios Vasileios had to be evacuated by sea. Another 12 people, fleeing the same blaze, were evacuated from the beach in Porto Germano by Greek Coast Guard patrol boats. 18 water-dropping planes and 11 helicopters were assisting 325 firefighters with specialized forest fire teams tackling the blaze. Greek authorities issued emergency alerts for several areas for Saturday and warned of extreme wildfire risk in the regions of Attica and Evia. Firefighters were battling more than 70 wildfires in Greece. The human toll is staggering. 15 deaths have been reported and nearly 500,000 acres have burned. 3 firefighters died while tackling a wildfire on the southern Greek island of Crete. 2 firefighters died while battling another fire near Bordeaux Airport. The scope and speed of the fires are pushing emergency response systems to their limits. In France, about 100 buildings have been destroyed in Gironde. Around 240 homes have been destroyed in France. In Spain, the cumulative number of fires in 2026 has also set a new record for this time of year. The economic damage is already materializing, with 130,000 French workers seeing their workplaces come to a standstill. Authorities are working to feed, shelter, and care for evacuees who fled in staggering numbers. 250,000 in the southwest, driven away by 2 fires. Macron spoke of displaced people traumatized by the upheaval and who sometimes have lost everything. It's worth addressing the broader context of what's driving these fires. Climate change is bringing more extreme weather events to the fastest warming continent. The combination of intense heat and subsequent record-breaking fires that burned in Spain in 2025 is part of a pattern. The EU's Copernicus satellite monitoring service updated its weekly summary of burnt areas in the early hours of Thursday. For the moment, the situation is similar to last year, an EU official told journalists. Last year was the worst, and the whole of August awaits us. As one expert put it, we have entered an era of fires that cannot be extinguished. The growing frequency of emergency requests is forcing the EU's Emergency Response Coordination Center to adapt. After fluctuating between 15 and 30 activations a year during the 2010s, requests have recently averaged around 60 annually. We are improving every day. We are learning, the official said. So here's what this actually means once you separate the confirmed facts from the speculation. We know that nearly 500,000 hectares have burned across the European Union. We know that France has recorded its highest annual burned area since records began. We know that Spain has experienced one of its worst wildfire seasons in decades. We know that Greece is battling multiple wildfires simultaneously. We know that more than 200,000 people have been forced to flee their homes. We know that at least 15 people have died. And we know that Macron has called it the worst fire crisis since World War II. What we don't know is how much worse it will get. The EU official warned that the whole of August awaits us. Another heatwave is gripping much of the continent. The European Union warned that the wildfire crisis is moving eastwards, with Greece and Italy expected to face increasing danger as the heatwave, drought, and strong winds continue into early August. An EU agency has warned that we could see all of Europe on fire at the beginning of August. I'll bring you the next update the moment any new fire data is released, or if conditions worsen. If you want real extreme weather coverage explained accurately, separating what's actually confirmed from what's still speculation, that's exactly what we do here every single time. Drop a comment and let me know what part of this surprised you most. The fact that a single fire burned an area 4 times the size of Paris, the scale of the evacuations, or Macron's warning that this is the worst since World War II. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next update, and I'll see you in the next one.